Okay.
Oh, you don't have to touch it. Oh, crap. I was muted right now. Okay, so we're
Sure.
live, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Movie Canon. I'm Giovanni, and today I'm being joined by my little brother, Matthew.
What's good?
So, this is the very first episode of a new show or live show that I'm doing on my channel called Horror Talk. It is also the very first episode in 2023. So, horror talk is basically what the name says. We're going to talk about a lot of horror elements, horror stuff, horror movies, TV, even just anything related to horror, you know, within the frame of entertainment and whatever the hell. So, that's what this show is going to be about. So, for this very first episode, we're going to focus on the non spoiler review of M3GAN. So that's one of the first things we're going to talk about here today. We're also going to talk about the status on the Five Nights at Freddy's film adaptation. So we'll be talking about that too. And also the upcoming movies in 2023, or upcoming horror movies of 2023. That's the other things we're going to talk about here today. So like always, everyone, if there's an issue with the mic, with the sound or anything like that, or the camera, whatever the case may be, please let me know, since we are live and we're not just talking and doing things when no one can hear. So thank you by letting me know. So let's go ahead and begin by, let's start with the M3GAN review. This is a non-spoiler review of the film. It just came out yesterday, January 6th. And Matthew, you have got a chance to watch this movie too. So,
Yes.
so what we're gonna do here is, like always, I usually try to separate it by positives and negatives. So overall, when it comes to this movie, just initially from the trailer, I was very interested in it because it looked like it was going to be a lot of fun. Now, when it comes to trailers that convey that, or present that, there's a slight chance that the movie's not going to be any good. And if history speaks anything, is that a lot of January releases theatrically are usually not very good. It has changed a bit since the pandemic era, and that has changed a little bit, where some studios decide that they want to drop some movies in January, so they're a little bit more comfortable doing that. And so that was one of the things that I was a little concerned about when it came to M3GAN. So I saw the movie yesterday, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It was very entertaining. It's like one of those movies that you kind of want to go see in a in a crowd of people. There's a lot of horror things, obviously, since it is a horror movie, but there's a lot of comedy in it too. So I'm going to begin by going into the positives of M3GAN. Again, this is a non-spoiler review of the movie, so I'm going to try to avoid any spoilers here, because I know a lot of people have not yet seen this movie. It's not like Avatar that everybody and their mom are going to go and see it. In the chat, we have ERM19 saying hi. So hello,
Hello.
ERM19. So let's begin by doing the positives here. So hold on a moment here. So, Matthew, just overall, is this a positive or negative experience with M3GAN?
It is definitely a positive experience overall.
But you didn't like it as much as I did.
I did not. No.
Okay, so we got that out of the way. Let's see here. So when it comes to the positives of this movie, at least for me, is the dynamic between Gemma and Katie. So the main star or the main character is the actress that you see on the screen right now. Her name is Allison Williams, and she was in Get Out and Get Out. So the dynamic between her and her niece, I thought was done very well for the story. In the trailer, you learn that the niece survived a car crash. Her parents were in the vehicle. They were like in snow and so on, so the parents did not survive, and that's something that you see in the trailer. And now she's gonna live with the aunt, and the aunt is this character Gemma, and she is a inventor of robots and things like that. And ultimately, she doesn't know how to handle raising a child because she herself doesn't have any children and she's single, and so on. So I'm not gonna go into too many details about that. This is all information that you saw in the trailer. But definitely her dynamic with her niece, the character Katie, works very well in the movie. So that's definitely a positive there. Another thing that I found to be positive is, the deeper message within the film. We see and we have seen lately is a lot of people have their kids. You see them on their iPads or whatever. What kind of message are they trying to convey here? Not to get too preachy or anything, but you do see a lot of parents just have their kids and you see them with their iPads and everything. Obviously, that's not something that I grew up with because iPads didn't exist when I was a child. So who knows? Maybe that would have experienced that as well. But it kind of just talks a little bit about that. Now it goes a little bit more into that. Like we use technology to try to like raise children or whatever the case might be, and this story kind of talks about it a little bit without getting a little too preachy in there. But it's always nice to see, especially in a horror movie, that they try to at least come up with a decent story or with a decent message or something that's going on nowadays or whatever. So it's always nice to see that in a horror movie or just anything in general. But when it comes to horror movies, they usually don't bother with that. They just want to show a bunch of killings and blood and all the other stuff.
Blood and honey.
Yeah, which we'll talk about that in a bit. The blend between horror and comedy is flawless in this movie. There's a lot of comedy in this movie. I think it was intentional because some of the shots are kind of like, or some of the way that it's set up, it works because it was intentional. So that's actually what makes it funny. There's a lot of that in this movie. And that's what I'm saying. It has a lot of elements that would be good for you to watch in a big group. Like if you go to see it in theaters, it will be a very good experience because you get the horror, you get the scares, the comedy. There's a lot of stuff in there, and that's kind of the reasons why I really liked this movie. Another thing is that, M3GAN, the character itself, without M3GAN, this movie wouldn't be anywhere near as interesting. So M3GAN itself is a great villain. We have Chucky, we have Annabelle. I can't think of any other killer dolls on the top of my head right now, but this one's definitely gonna be up there, I believe. I hope they make more sequels of M3GAN. And not necessarily to give spoilers or anything like that, but when it comes to horror, even if the main villain gets killed or whatever, there's always ways to bring them back. So maybe M3GAN gets destroyed, maybe she doesn't, who knows. But even so, either way, that they're gonna bring a sequel. So that's the M3GAN portion of this whole movie here. And let me see if there's anything else. It's definitely suspenseful. Like I already said, it's a lot of fun, a good time at the movies. So those are my positives when it comes to M3GAN. And Matthew, I know that you didn't like it as much as I did, but what are a couple of positives from you?
I also liked the dynamics, not just between Katie and Gemma, however you say your name.
Yeah, Gemma.
I think the dynamic between M3GAN and Katie was also an extremely well done dynamic, and this movie is a very funny movie. I think it's a comedy more than anything. And I thought good 70% of the jokes landed, which is a very high percentage for most horror movies, which sometimes struggle to get, the jokes. And something else I liked about this movie, one second.
So overall, I mean, you overall did like M3GAN?
I enjoyed it. It was a good time. It just
Mhm.
wasn't like everything I wanted it to be and more.
So you wanted more out of this movie?
Yes, definitely wanted more from this movie.
Okay, so why don't we get into the negatives then? So the negatives. Now we're in the shot there in this particular image here. So here are some of my negatives. So I wrote a couple of these down here. So the actor or comedian Ronnie Ching, I think that's how you pronounce the last name, Ronnie Ching. His acting and character in M3GAN was definitely the most negative aspect or component of M3GAN. I don't know if Ronnie Chang is actually directed to do this way or if that's just how he is, but I don't normally find him funny. Like, I know he's a comedian. I've seen a little bit of his specials and I stopped watching it because I didn't find it funny. Maybe it's not my demographic, I don't know, but I didn't really find him funny. And there was some other stuff in The Daily Show. I think it was in The Daily Show. He has like certain segments there, and I didn't find him funny either. He was in Shang-Chi, and I don't remember necessarily disliking him or liking him at all. He wasn't in the movie that long.
Yeah, I don't even remember him being in it.
Yeah, he was the helping the sister, Shang-Chi's sister, when they have that underground fighting thing. So he was definitely the negative part of this. He, like I said, wasn't funny. The character was not even likable. Like, I understand that you want to bring this character because there's certain things that you need from him, but I was kind of glad and happy of certain things that happen in the movie here. Like I said, this is a non-spoiler review. But anyways, so that was a negative. Another negative for me on here is whether you can see it as a negative or not, but it's a little too similar to the Child's Play remake. Like, when you get a killer doll, you're gonna compare it to Chucky, especially now to Annabelle. Annabelle is one of those dolls now too. But there's a lot of elements in this movie that are very similar, specifically to the Child's Play remake. So when you watch the movie, you'll see it right away. I mean, it still worked overall because, like I said, the comedy, the horror, the suspenseful things in it are still good and, override all that. So it's not 100% original, but you wouldn't necessarily expect it to be when you have a killer doll, right? So that would be probably like a negative, but it's not a huge or a big deal, at least for me. Matthew, do you have any other negatives for this?
Yes. I do not consider this movie a horror movie at all, really. Because when you look at our villain, M3GAN, who for a majority of the film wasn't really evil, she was just kind of like wired wrong, I guess you could say. She wasn't evil, she just did things that she thought was helping Katie. So when there's scenes like trying to add suspense where there or like a jump scare and it's M3GAN, it kind of like takes me back when she's just gonna like pop up and be like, "Oh, hi," instead of like there wasn't really any stakes for any of the suspenseful moments with M3GAN.
Okay.
And I did like how she was towards the end, but that's a negative because that was only like the last 20 minutes of the film.
Okay.
Yeah. And I agree with you that Danny...
Oh, Ronnie
Chang? Yeah, whatever his name is. He was definitely the worst part of the movie. It was a very phoned-in performance, I think.
Okay. That's why you see him on the screen there. He was running. And you can see M3GAN at the very end with just walking. Yeah, so overall, like I said, I had a fun time with this movie. And let me see. So I'm about to give the grade. Now, I posted the grade here on my Instagram page. But I'm also going to include Matthew's grade here. So this is our grade here, and it's all covered. So my side of the screen is obviously that's my grade, and you can see Gio's grade. So this is a C it for me. I give it a B plus, and like I said, it's also on my Instagram. I just put the same image that you see on here, and on the other side you see Matthew's image. And what was yours, Matthew?
Stream it and a C.
So it's a solid C.
Yes.
So you don't want that as a school grade, and
It's very average.
stream it. So yeah, like I said, for me it's a C and it's a grade B plus. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. So that was M3GAN, the non-spoiler review. It's kind of hard to do a review that's non-spoiler, right?
A little bit.
Like we're trying to, like I almost said something right now, and I was like, wait, this is not a spoiler review. So that's M3GAN, came out yesterday. Definitely see it in theaters. Matthew, I don't know if that's his thought of that. He didn't like it as much as I did, but I did, so watch it. Okay, so the next thing here that we're going to talk about today is what's in the title of this video, which is the video game Five Nights at Freddy's. So I guess this game has been out for several years, right, Matthew?
8, I think.
8 years.
Oh wait, 6.
Well,
like 9.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many years. I've never played the game, but I've seen like little clips of it and like little images, and I always thought they looked kind of creepy, and I always meant to try to play it. Maybe I'll play it in the future, maybe before this movie comes out. But before we talk about the current status of the movie, Matthew, what are your thoughts on this game? Overall, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the games are scary. It differs in quality from each one. There's very high and low points in quality of horror, but I think this is definitely like long overdue. A horror movie with this concept in mind. I mean, there has been. I know there's just one Nick Cage movie that basically I think it used the script that was meant for this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think which that might have been, but okay, continue.
But this movie has been supposed to come out for a long time. I think this movie got announced in April 2015 and has been in development now.
Yeah, so it was supposed to it was gonna have Chris Columbus.
Yeah.
So he's the director of a lot of those popular movies that we've seen in the 90s and early 2000s, like Home Alone, Home Alone 2, the first 2 Harry Potters. So he was attached to this. I think he was going to direct it, but eventually he dropped out for whatever reason.
Yes.
So they're having trouble developing this adaptation. But finally it looks like there actually might be something actually moving forward now, because now we have casting, which is Matthew Lillard and what's his name, Josh Hutcherson.
Josh Hutcherson, yes.
They're attached to this movie, and the last time we checked on here, the filming is supposed to begin next month, so February, and it's unknown if it'll actually be released this year, because I don't know how CGI heavy it's gonna need.
I don't think it is gonna be CGI heavy. I think it was announced it's the people that made the Muppets that are building the robots.
And actually that'll probably work better. That'll make it creepier. Although they'll probably add a little bit of CGI in there, just maybe certain shots or whatever. I think that works best when we have practical effects and a little bit of CGI, and hopefully that works out like that. So the movie Five Nights at Freddy's, it might come out this year,
maybe,
but most likely it'll probably come out 2024. But so far it looks like it is moving forward, and it looks like they're about to start shooting as of next month.
Yes.
So hopefully that happens there. Matthew, any other thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's?
Well, I have multiple thoughts, but I hope this movie actually comes out. I've literally been waiting for it for almost a decade at this point.
Oh, damn.
Similar to Black Adam, I guess you could say. I think the casting is relatively well done. I thought they would go more I thought this would be like before it would have been a less big cast, I guess you could say, because the franchise has definitely grown in size as of recently, and yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna move on now to the upcoming movies of 2023. Horror movies. We already talked about the most anticipated movies of 2023 last month. So go to my YouTube channel and look that one up. So these are just some horror movies of 2023. I'm not gonna go into all of them, but just some that I've noticed are kind of popular. Some that I'm interested in, and just overall, I think would do well in the box office. At least that's the plan or speculation, anyways, so far. So these are the upcoming 2023 horror movies. So let's begin by talking about, if I can find it here. Here we go. So this is Knock at the Cabin. It could be considered a horror, but it's more like a horror suspense. It's the M. Night Shyamalan new movie. This movie was in our most anticipated movies of 2023 list. And there's a new trailer that just came out. It actually came out with, at least I saw it with M3GAN. This new trailer came out. I believe it's going to be R-rated, which is, I think, only the second M. Night Shyamalan movie that's R-rated. The first one would have been The Happening. So this movie looks a lot more interesting after watching the second trailer. If you haven't seen the second trailer for this, definitely watch it. It's a lot better. Now, the first trailer is not supposed to go into too many details or anything, so that's fine as a first trailer. But it does look much better, and I'm more excited about it now. So that's coming out on February 3rd of this year. Matthew, do you have any other thoughts on this movie, Knock at the Cabin?
I'm quite excited for this movie, actually, with Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista and Rupert Grint, which is Ron from Harry Potter.
Is it?
Yeah.
This looks like an interesting concept. Of course, we don't know like anything really about. We know it's like the end of the world or something because of a choice, but
yeah,
I'm interested to find out.
It's based on a book.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's based on a book. But I mean, I haven't read the book, but
me neither. I'm interested to find out how it all comes together.
All right, so that was Knock at the Cabin. So the next one here, next horror movie, 2023, is no other than Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So now that the rights for this character is no longer an issue, filmmakers decided that, okay, let's make a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Now, this is coming out on February 15th, and from my understanding of this, it's only going to be playing for one night only. So if you want to watch that in the theaters, there's a very limited window, and I don't know if this movie's going to be good or not.
Probably not.
I saw the little parts of it, and I think are they wearing like costumes?
I have not seen anything.
I think they're wearing costumes or something like that with Winnie the Pooh or whatever. I'm curious to seeing it, and I may end up watching it in theaters, but we'll see about that. But I know a lot of horror community circles have been talking about this movie, and they're very curious about it.
Yes.
So that's on February 15th. Matthew, any other thoughts on this?
I'm a little excited for this. It's like the mean one in terms of a supposed kid's character becoming evil, but I don't think it's gonna be like. I think it is costumes and not like an actual Winnie the Pooh killing people,
Right.
which is kind of takes me back from it. But I'm still a little excited, I guess.
Yeah, because I think the main character is Christopher Robin, like the one that they're.
Yeah.
I think Winnie the Pooh's out there trying.
Yeah, I think I
trying to kill Christopher Robin, and I think he has a family at this point. So we'll see how that turns out there. The next horror movie 2023 that we'll be talking about is Scream 6. So obviously the sequel to last year's installment, and it's coming out March 10th. Did I already say that? March 10th, 2023, which is coming up. It's not too far out. Just in a couple months. So yes, obviously a Scream movie. It's always going to be on my radar as far as wanting to watch it. But yeah, I was a little concerned that they kind of rushed it because Scream 5 came out about a year ago,
Yeah, January
and
21.
Scream 6 is about to come out in a couple months. And I know that happened with the first Scream and Scream 2. I think they were like a year apart as well. But some people don't think that Scream 2 was all that good. I'm not one of them, but it is still a little concerning when it doesn't take that long to make another movie. And I mean, it is a horror movie, it is a Scream movie, and so I mean, how much time would they need really? But I'm still a little concerned about it. Your thoughts on Scream 6, Matthew?
I'm also a little concerned that this came out so quickly. I mean, I enjoyed the last Scream movie, which a lot of people didn't. So I have high expectations, but I'm also a little worried it can end up like Halloween and Halloween Kills, which did have a large gap between it, but Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends did not, and those were supposedly two pretty bad movies. So I hope this doesn't turn sour.
Okay. Yeah, so again, that's March 10th, 2023. The next one here is a movie called The Renfield with Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult. Now, this is obviously like a horror comedy. You know, they're Nicolas Cage playing Dracula, and Nicholas Hoult is one of those. I don't know what they call him. What do they call him when there's they have their master, which is vampire, and then they have their like little minion, and that's kind of what Nicholas Holt's character is. We saw the trailer. I don't know if you were interested in this. I want to see this. I mean, I am a fan of Nicolas Cage, and I think he's having a bit of a resurgence right now, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
But Nicolas Cage could be a hit or miss
Actor.
Sometimes he's like really really good, and sometimes he makes some stuff that is like out of like nowhere. It's like I have no idea what's going on in this. So that's Nicolas Cage in Renfield, a horror comedy coming on April 14th. Are you interested in watching this at all, Matthew?
Yeah, I am interested in watching this actually. I'm also a fan of Nick Cage and the other guy who I forgot his name until you just said it.
Nicholas Hoult.
I liked his performance in The Menu.
Oh, The Menu, yeah. He's
Yeah.
in The Menu.
So I'm looking forward to it. It looks kind of like an old school Disney Channel horror movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean that's not a that's why I say old school, because those
some of
movies
them
are
were good?
actually kind of good.
Right. Okay, so let's see. So what's the next one? So that was Renfield coming on April of 2023. The next one here is Evil Dead Rise. So this is a sequel. Actually, I don't know if this is supposed to be a reboot or not, because the last Evil Dead movie that came out was 10 years ago, 2013, and I know that one was a reboot. So I don't know if this is connected to that one or not. It sounds like it might be maybe some kind of prequel or sequel or its own thing. I have no idea. But I did like the trailer, and the trailer did look pretty creepy. I really liked the trailer, so I'm definitely interested in this. This comes out on April 21st. I really enjoyed the remake in 2013. I liked the original from, I think, 1981. But I was never like a huge fan of Evil Dead. But the remake I really liked, and this one reminds me of that remake. So I'm definitely going to be watching this one. And I even watched the Evil Dead musical a few years ago, and that was an interesting experience there. Matthew, first question about this. Have you ever seen an Evil Dead movie?
I have seen one, the 1981 Evil Dead.
Oh, the original.
Yes.
The very original.
And I enjoyed that film a lot, actually.
And are you interested in watching this one? Evil Dead Rise.
When I heard about it, not really, but after seeing the trailer, I actually am quite excited to see this movie. I think it looks interesting. It doesn't look like every other horror movie does, especially in this kind of like paranormal kind of a vibe that it's giving.
Okay. So that's Evil Dead Rise, April 21st. That's not too far out from now. Okay, so the next movie here, horror movie 2023, is Insidious 5. So you see Patrick Wilson there, and the demon in the background there. I think this demon is called. I think it's called Lipstick Demon or something like that.
Oh yeah, I think it is called Lipstick.
Have you seen the first any of the Insidious movies?
Nope. I just
Okay.
know that Lipstick Demon is a person that exists.
Yeah, the demon that looks like Darth Maul.
Yes.
So I really like the first one, especially this shot that you see here on the screen. That shot was very creepy, and I keep rewatching that. It's supposed to come out in July. I put tentative because a lot of Insidious movies seem to be pushed, and I think this one might have been pushed actually before that. But from my understanding, I think Patrick Wilson is actually directing this movie. I don't know if
Yes.
he's directed anything before that, but he's directing the new Insidious movie. I mean, I'm planning on watching it. I haven't seen any footage. There's no trailers yet or anything, but I'll probably watch it. So that's in July. And any other thoughts on Insidious 5? Or any thoughts, Matthew?
I had no idea this was a movie that was coming out until just now. So
So just right now,
yeah,
this very moment?
this very moment.
Okay. All right. So again, that's Insidious 5. The next one here, let's see, what do we got? Oh, the next one is Shelby Oaks. And this is the Chris Stuckman horror movie. The YouTuber who is working on a movie, his first film, and he got some funding from a production company to make this movie. He wrote and directed. I don't think anyone is helping him. He might have a co-writer for Shelby Oaks. We don't really know that much information, except that I think it's like one of those found footage horror movies or so. And it's supposed to come out in July. At least that's the information online right now, that it's about to come out in July. I know Chris Stuckman's always advertising it or talking about it on his channel. And he made it seem like he's... I know that he's done filming, but he made it seem like he might actually release this year. And then when I saw that potential July release for Shelby Oaks, it might happen. So I'm curious to see this movie, especially I want to see Chris Stuckman's take on horror or just making a movie in general. So I'm definitely curious and interested in seeing this, but we'll see what happens. And then Matthew, you've heard about this movie, right?
I think I've heard of it, not the name. I've heard of a horror movie being made by a YouTuber. That was about it, though.
Okay, so now the story itself sounds kind of like, at least from what we've learned so far, like I said, it's one of those found footage movies, a horror movie, and I can't remember the details of what's in Shelby Oaks, but it's very, very brief, and it sounds very similar to other movies that we've seen before. So
It's about a woman trying to like search for her sister, and then realizes that demons from their childhood might be real. Something like that.
okay, all right. So yeah, it sounds something similar that we've seen before. So maybe Chris Stuckman has a different take, a different perspective, and so on. And who knows? Maybe it'll be good.
Maybe.
The next one here is the sequel to... Oh, wait. Oh. You know what? I messed up on this.
Did you?
I think so.
Wow.
Okay. Haunted Mansion. So that's a Disney movie coming out on August 11th. And obviously based on, the ride that we see on Disneyland or whatever the case. And... there's a movie before it starring Eddie Murphy that came out in 2003. I watched that movie.
I do not like that movie.
It was not good at all.
Yeah.
I didn't like it either. They're trying again. They're remaking it, and we don't really know that much information about this one either. But I know it's supposed to come out in August, and I think it's supposed to be a theatrical release. I don't know if they're gonna dump it on Disney Plus. It is possible that they'll dump it on Disney Plus, but so far I think it is going to be a theatrical release. And I like anything related to like Halloween or something scary or whatever, so I'm curious about it. I need to see a trailer first because, like I said, the last one was pretty bad.
Yes.
Any thoughts on this, Matthew?
Well, I just hope it's not like the original movie. I mean, I like the ride. The ride is cool. It's a cool
Yeah,
concept.
yeah. When it comes to the ride, yeah.
But yeah, original movie is pretty bad.
Yeah, so that's the Haunted Mansion, and I don't think I have an image for this. Okay, let me go back here. This was supposed to be another image here, but I don't have it right now. I messed up on something here. But it's The Nun 2. So that's the sequel to the first movie that came out. I think it was like in 2018, I believe. Part of the Conjuring universe. So they are making another Nun movie. So this will be the first sequel. That's supposed to come out in September. I don't think we don't have any information about it yet, but that is another horror movie that's coming out. So that's September, I believe, September 8th. That's The Nun 2. Okay, so I don't have an image right now because I must have forgotten.
Wow.
Okay, so the next one here, or any thoughts on The Nun 2?
None at all.
Okay. So, The Exorcist. So they are remaking this, and we talked about this movie in the most anticipated movies of 2023 stream, and this is from the filmmakers who made the new Halloween movies, the 2018 and the trilogy. The trilogy. I don't know if this is supposed to come out also on Peacock or in theaters, but I mean, I've always been a fan of the first Exorcist movie from 1973, the original, and I think that's one of probably the scariest movie I've ever seen. And that was before we started seeing a bunch of these Exorcist movies that started coming out, like in the 2000s, 2010s, and so on. There was a lot of those Exorcist movies coming out. That was way before that. So obviously I wasn't alive when the original movie came out in 1973, but I did watch it as a kid, and that was one of the, I think probably is the scariest movie that I've ever seen. So now they're making another sequel of this specific Exorcist movie, and it has Ellen Burstyn returning, and I don't think Linda Blair's coming back here, but I'm definitely curious in seeing it. If the filmmakers who made the first Halloween, the 2018 Halloween,
Yeah.
If they make this film, and I think they're planning on making more than one, but if it's anywhere like the 2018, then I'm good. If it's anything like Halloween Ends, then I'm not good. So, Matthew, your thoughts on this Halloween remake?
I don't have any thoughts. I didn't know this was a remake that was happening.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen the original Exorcist. I tend to stray away from those cockroach girls that crawl on the walls movies.
What the hell?
Like this and like Conjuring type things, but I think I might be interested in watching this potentially.
Okay. So that's The Exorcist 2023 in October. Let's see, what's the next one here? Oh yeah, so we have Saw. So this is Saw X or Saw 10, and Lionsgate is giving it yet another try when it comes to the Saw franchise. This is the 10th one, obviously, and they're bringing back the lead character, the lead actor. I think it's Toby Bell, I believe. Let me just double check on that. But so this is the next Saw movie. The last couple ones that have come out have not been that good, and they have not been received well. So, like I said, Lionsgate is still trying to milk this. I know they don't have that many franchises right now running. That's why they're using John Wick. That's like their bread and butter right now, and they're bringing another Hunger Games movie. Again, because the other movies made a lot of money, so they wanted to bring this. So now they're trying Saw again. And it is Tobin Bell, who's Jigsaw. So this comes out on October 27th. And they're bringing him back somehow because the character dies, I think, in the second one or something. So I don't know how they're going to explain that, especially since he's even older than he was like 10, 15 years ago. I guess more like 10 years ago or 12 years ago. So that's Saw 10. Matthew, are you interested in this?
This one, I'm going to say no. I've only seen the first one. I thought it was decent, but I had no idea there was 10 films, so they must be not great if I didn't even know about them. So
Okay. Yeah,
but
so
no,
that's 10 Saw movies. And let me see if there's anything else. I think that's it for the 2023 horror movies. So we already talked about, the M3GAN review, the Five Nights at Freddy's, and then the 2023 horror movies that are coming out. So there's just a couple things I was going to add here. So again, this is horror talks, so I'm going to present this. So CREEPIECON, it's coming in the Inland Empire in Southern California. I'm not being sponsored or anything, but this is just information for horror fans. CREEPIECON, if you're in the Southern California area, in Ontario specifically, it returns February 4th and February 5th. This is the second year that they're doing this. We went last year, and I got a couple autographs and so on that I wanted. And this year they have even more celebrities and stuff that are gonna appear. So if you want to get like autographs and so on, photo ops, this is the place for creepy stuff. And it's not too far away if you're in Southern California. It's in Ontario. And that's pretty much it for this one. And then also, if you're in California, so they have the Scream House tour. I don't know if they have tickets left, but Scream House tour is March 18th and 19th, I believe. So if you want to get a tour there, they're doing it again. I believe it is owned by just an individual, like they own the house and I think they live in the house. So I'm assuming they just separated like a weekend so you can have a tour of the house. And I think it kind of looks exactly the same still. I don't think they really changed much. So if you're a big Scream fan or horror fan, definitely look into that. Scream House Tour, March 18th, March 19th. All right, so that's it. The horror talk, the very first episode of Horror Talk. And moving forward, we'll talk about things about horror, whether it's a review of a horror movie that just came out or something related to horror that I think people might be interested in viewing or whatever. Maybe some horror giveaways or whatever the case might be. So that's Horror Talk. Now, also moving forward, there's another show that we're going to do here on this channel, which is called Fan Casting of. My next one, or the first one that I'm going to do, is fan casting of the MCU's X-Men. So we'll be doing that fairly soon. I'll be posting information on Instagram once I find out when we're going to do this, but that is something that I will be doing in the future, and I think you'll be joining me with that one, right, Matthew?
maybe.
Okay, so maybe for the
Yes.
MCU X-Men fan casting, so just keep that in your radar there. So I think that was pretty much it. Is there anything else you wanted to add for this first Horror Talk episode, Matthew?
No, I think we covered everything horror related this year.
Oh, this year already?
This year.
In January? Okay.
Yeah, there will not be any more horror talks.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so that was it, everyone. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. More content coming. I'm changing things up. I'm trying to find more information from viewers as to what they want to watch and so on. So having a horror talk show was definitely one of them. Fan casting, like I mentioned, is another one. So just keep an eye out for more content. I'll usually post information on my Instagram, so follow me on Instagram at the Movie Canon. Subscribe to the channel, give it a like so that we can continue doing this and hopefully grow more and bigger, so then I could also do some better content, go to different places, or even do some fancier and better giveaways and so on in the future, like hot toys or something like that. But obviously I need support from viewers by subscribing, liking, watching, and so on. So thank you so much for the ones that have watched this, whether it's live or later on. And I'll see you guys next time. Matthew, any last things?
Also subscribe to my YouTube. I'll be uploading soon, maybe.
Oh, you're going to finally start uploading stuff?
Maybe.
All right. So thank you, everyone, and I'll see you guys next time.